Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. This is our part six of our eight SAP series sessions that we are hosting in our Northern California and some co-host chapters in the Americas UiPath community. Very excited to be part of this session. I have with me Diana Gray. She already introduced herself as the Americas community manager, and Umesh Dutt Sharma, who is one of our technical leads at TSP and a recent UiPath MVP. And my name is Pankaj Banka. I'm on the co-founders here at TSP and a fellow MVP with Umesh. So very excited to present you this session on UiPath solution accelerators and best practices pertaining to SAP automations with UiPath. Just few housekeeping rules or points. Umesh, can you get to the next slide? Obviously, we just did that introduction, so you can move to the next slide. So we conduct these sessions based on the feedback that we get from our community managers, members, and also community managers from different regions, chapter leaders, and so these are managed by the fellow MVP groups in the Americas. So you guys are encouraged to network with our MVPs via LinkedIn, chats, or emails or text. And I mean, we want to get to know you, and we would expect everyone to get to know each other in this community session so that we can exchange ideas and so and so forth. So, and also Diana will have um, this session posted after uh, the we wrap up this session. You'll have a recording link available, so Dana will put that in the chat. And any questions that you have, you can feel free to put that in the chat or unmute yourself in the end once Umesh is done to ask your questions. Umesh? As I said, right? So this is part six of eight-part series. So you see, today is April 2nd. We are doing the solution accelerators and best practices session. On April 8th, there is another exciting session happening, which is very specific to SAP modules in finance, procure to pay, SD, which is sales and distribution, order to cash, the technical part of it, and manufacturing modules. So we will, as TSP, we have done a lot of use cases when it comes to SAP. So we want to showcase those use cases, share those use cases with you guys so that you get an idea of how do we do these automations on SAP using the UiPath platform. Please feel free to register on the community page. The link is given below. So it'll be an exciting session which is happening on April 8th. Umesh? So just a high-level agenda. We'll talk about what solution accelerators are, and we'll also go through the UiPath marketplace, go through some of the solution accelerators present there, and then also how do we build automation using those accelerators, some key points, best practices, and Umesh will do a quick demo using those solution accelerators. Umesh? Yeah, so with that, I'll hand it over to Umesh to take it forward and go through the presentation and the demo. Umesh?
Sure, Pankaj. Thank you so much for the quick introduction and guiding us through with the agenda. So, talking about UiPath Solution Accelerators, so it's a framework designed by the experts which follows the best practices. When we talk about framework, as you are already aware that we have RE framework in UiPath, which is designed by UiPath, which follows the best practices. Similarly, UiPath Solution Accelerators are the framework designed specifically for use cases across uh, which are applicable for enterprises, and so it follows the best practice, and it has pre-built components which includes queues, assets, processes, libraries, and everything else that are part of the whole automation bundle. And the main advantage of having Solution Accelerator is it has a customization option. So it provides us a mechanism, it provides us those placeholders in the workflows where we can customize it on our need. So we'll go through this as we do the demo. And one of the key point is faster implementation. Since the framework is already built in, we have the best practices already implemented. We have the reusables already created that can be leveraged during this workflow automation. So it's really faster to implement because we just have to write our custom code as per the requirement, and then we can just simply start using it. So we'll see how quickly we can deploy a solution accelerator to production if we have everything ready, available. So one of the key point to note around about solution accelerator is that it's not a plug and play. We get the template, we get the framework already created, but we cannot just simply use it as plug and play because we still have to do the customization, because not every organization follows the same practice around those SAP automations, right? Some of the steps or process might vary organization to organization. That's why the customization needs to be done. And it heavily uses reusable components because it follows the best practice. And as a part of best practices, having reusables is a must. And that is where we will see a lot of reusables in the form of libraries and how they are integrated as a part of the solution bundle. Last but not the least is the security and compliance. So UiPath, all the solution accelerators that are available at UiPath Marketplace follows the security and compliance checks, and we will see that all the solution accelerators that are currently available at Marketplace are certified, either gold certified or platinum certified. We'll go through this as well. So these are some of the key points which we should be aware when we start using the solution accelerators. Right. Moving to the benefits. So as some of the benefits we already covered in the previous slide, but we'll go through these three major points in this slide. So as I said, UiPath Solution Accelerators help us to scale our automation faster. It provides us a faster implementation to production with minimum effort that are required on the customization side. So we save a lot of time on the development side because most of our work is already done. We just have to do the custom automation and just do the configurations, and that's it. We can save a lot of time on the development side. So once we go through the demo, you will understand that how quickly we can get started with the customization and how quickly we can do the development and make it production ready. The second is boost productivity. So since solution accelerators allow us to cut the development work, cut the configuration work to a specific extent, so we can save a lot of time. And it also follows the best practices and follows the implementation of different UiPath services, including data services, storage bucket, and integration service and others. So all these UiPath products and services are tightly binded in these solution accelerators so that it makes it more scalable, as well as it reduces the processing time because we don't have to set up anything locally on any of the virtual machines because everything happens within these UiPath environment. So we don't have to set up anything on the virtual machines as well. Enhance accuracy, since the automation follows the best practices as well as it binds all the different UiPath services and products tightly. So accuracy improves by itself because there is no dependency on the external components or integrations as such. And that's why the data accuracy, as well as since it also follows the retry mechanism as well as exception handling. So the accuracy enhances by itself, and it also has some of the solution accelerators also has human in the loop concept, where if any validation is required, it create an action center task for manual validation for human in the loop. So that's about the benefits of using solution accelerators. Now we'll talk about solution accelerators that are specific to SAP. So there are a lot of solution accelerators that are available on UiPath Marketplace around different applications. But since we are focusing mainly on the SAP side of it, as you can see, these are some of the highly used use cases around SAP, and these are some of the solution accelerators that are available via Path Marketplace. Talking about SAP Concur Data Extractor, two-way and three-way match, which is a part of accounts payable process, and it has the human in the loop concept. It has the document understanding framework implemented in this, and it follows. So all these accelerators follows the best practices. We'll see some of them, what the solution accelerator look like at Marketplace. We'll share the links as well for you for quick reference. The other solution accelerators around SAP includes process good receipt, manage goods and invoice received, update existing vendors. So some of them are part of the GR/IR process, and then update existing vendor and business partner creation as well. So maybe I'll just open few of them and then let's see how the solution accelerator can be accessed on your part marketplace, right? So as you can see, the solution accelerator that we're currently checking is the two-way match invoice processing for SAP. So this solution accelerator is specifically designed for SAP and the specific use case, which is two-way match invoice processing. And you can see this is coming from the UiPath official channel, official feed by UiPath. The publisher is from the UiPath official channel, and on the certification side, as you were just discussing, that it follows the best practices around code implementation as well as on the security side, right? And that is why it is certified as gold, because it meets all the criteria that are required for this, and it it the applications that are currently integrated with this solution accelerator include SAP document understanding, integration service, data service, storage bucket, and everything else. As you can see, we can see the benefits that this particular solution accelerator provide in terms of saving the development hours, reducing the development hours by this much of time, optimizing the productivity by 75% and enhancing the accuracy by 95%. So these numbers that you see is actually based on the implementation which has happened for various customers and the feedback that we have received. And you can also see the high-level overview of the architecture diagram that are part of this bundle, which is uploaded as a solution accelerators. So most of these solution accelerators are built in partnership with the UiPath and Silicon Partners. Since Silicon Partners has an expertise around SAP automation and SAP implementations, and the experts from Silicon Partners has worked with UiPath to bring these solution accelerators to the organizations, to marketplace, and this is free to use. There are no costs required for this, and you can see a very good documentation available as well for these solution accelerators. So we'll go through this one by one, but coming back to the presentation, so these are some of the solution accelerators that are available in your part marketplace. I'll also show you how you can get to Solution Accelerators page on UiPath Marketplace. So once you go to the marketplace.uipath.com, you will see a collection for Solution Accelerators. When you navigate to collections, you will see an option for Solution Accelerators. And then under Solution Accelerators, you can find what are as you can see under collections, these are the solution accelerators that are available. And then you can also filter it out on the basis of the applications that the organization uses. Since we are talking about SAP solution accelerators, we can filter it out. For this, you can go to the solution accelerators page directly in here. And then here you can just simply click on the application and select SAP. You see all the accelerators that are specific to SAP in here, right? Okay. Next slide talks about how we can build automations with solution accelerators. So the solution accelerator package contains various components, which includes the technical documentation, a very detailed and uh, a guided document, which can help you get started with how to use, how to leverage these solution accelerators. Then this also includes solution management package, which can be used as a part of solutions management, which is again a feature at UiPath Orchestrator, which helps you to manage those solutions as a bundle. So you can just simply create a solutions package, and then you can share it with any of the organization outside of your organization. You can move the solution between different tenants very easily. So this comes as a solution management package as well. So we'll see that. Then it also contains assets, queues, processes, and libraries. So it binds everything into one single solution, one single package. And then it becomes easy for us to migrate these solution accelerators or configure these solution accelerators for any of the tenant or any of the organization. There are two ways by which solution accelerator can be installed on orchestrator and how it can be set up in a development environment. So one is using the manual deployment. The manual deployment means we have an option to create the assets by ourselves. Either we can use orchestrator manager for that, and we have to manually upload all the other components like the libraries. We have to create the processes by ourselves, and we have to create the schema by ourselves for data services and others. The other is the solutions management approach, where we can simply upload the solutions management package and it does the work for us. It creates the assets, it creates the folder, it creates all the storage bucket component, queues, and everything else. We just have to update the value for those assets. And then the second part of the solutions management deployment approach is we get the templates, which we can open on UiPath Studio, and we can customize it based on our needs, and then we can create a package and then deploy it to Orchestrator and start using it and start testing it. So these are the two different ways. We'll see how to do this. But before this, slide talks about the steps that are involved to set up the solution accelerator. Right. So these are the various steps where we, first of all, we prepare the orchestrator. We check whether the license is available or not for developer license or testing license, unattended license for uh, background automation, right? Check if all the UiPath products used in the solution accelerators are available in the tenant or not. If not, you might have to get those services enabled as part of this. Create folders for solution accelerators. So there is any specific need to have these created, right? And inside a subfolder, we can manually do this. So we just need to check it, prepare the orchestrator for that. And talking about creating and importing dependencies. So like I said, the dependencies includes having a data service schema imported, having forms.ai export folder created, AI center. So these are all required for human in the loop scenarios, creating storage bucket and creating task catalog. So these are mainly required for the human in the loop scenarios where actions and the tasks are created. And then the third step is importing assets and queues using solution management or orchestrator manager. So if we are following the solution management approach, we can just simply import the package and it will create all the assets and queues for us in just few minutes. But if we are doing it manually, so we can do this using orchestrator manager, which is again a component, or I would just say a solution provided by UiPath, using which we can create assets and queues very quickly. We still have to do some setup on the orchestrator manager. We have to provide some details around tenant and the organization details, and then we can quickly create those assets into those tenants. We just have to provide the data in an Excel format, right? So that is the manual approach. And then once everything is ready, right, we can just simply publish the solution accelerators, reusable components, which includes libraries. So libraries also comes as a part of the solution. We will have to manually deploy these libraries to the tenant, and then enable few services, few configuration, and then we are ready to open the code on a studio and make those changes as needed and customize the solution accelerator as needed. And once it is done, we can just simply create a package and publish it to Orchestrator. So all the work on the configuration side is already being done, right? We just have to import it. And once it is done, we can just simply open the project on a studio, and then we can start modifying it. We can start customizing the code, and then that's it. So as you can see, it saves a lot of time for faster to production and development efforts as well. All right. So there's the one last thing that we wanted to cover around this is UiPath has also introduced a UiPath Academy session or UiPath Academy course around solution accelerators, how you can build your automation using solution accelerators. You can go through this academy course. It will help you to understand how solution accelerators are built, how you can leverage solution accelerators in your organization to get started with development and follows the best practices for scalable and robust solutions. We will also share these links with you in the group chat so that you can refer it, you can save it for later reference. All right. So now we'll see the live demo how solution accelerators can be set up on any of the development environment. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, feel free to share with us on the chat. We'll go through those questions at the end of the session. All right. Okay. So we'll share these links. And so before you access the solution accelerator, you must be logged in. You must be logged into the UiPath cloud platform. If not, you can sign up, you can create an account, and then once you do that, you will see an option for download package. So I'll show you how this looks like. Let me just open this on a new instance of Chrome. If I access this particular solution accelerator on the community on the marketplace, right? It asked me to sign in and sign up. So you cannot access the solution accelerators without signing in. So you have to sign in or sign up if you have not already created this account. So once you do that, you can use the cloud platform account that you are already using. Once you do that, you will see this option enabled to download the package. And then you will see two options. One is manual deployment and other is solutions management deployment. So we covered these two during the presentation, but since manual deployment take a lot of efforts on configuring and setting up the environment, we'll go ahead with the solutions management deployment approach because that is the quickest and the recommended one from UiPath. We'll click on the solutions management approach. We see that there are two-step configurations that are needed, and we can start to design our automation in less than 5 minutes if we follow this approach. And that's really quick if you'll have everything set up for you to start customizing the code right around. So two-way match. That helps a lot to save the development effort. So the first step is download the solutions management assets. So this is a zip file which we can download by clicking in here, and then we can just simply go to the solutions management and then upload this in the solutions management asset. So we'll see how this is done. So once I click on this, it will download a zip file which we can upload to the tenant and solutions management section. Templates as well. So I have this downloaded. All right, so this is downloaded. I'll just show you what it looks like. As you can see, we have this SAP templates downloaded. So these are the part of SAP templates. And then we have a zip file, right? So if I navigate to the tenant, I'll go to the orchestrator and I'll deploy this zip file, which was downloaded in this solutions section of the orchestrator. So I'm navigating to the tenant section, and under solutions, you will see the solutions section under tenant service on a cloud platform. And here under packages, you can just simply upload the solution package which was downloaded. So once we do this, it will automatically create the assets, will create the queues, it will create the storage bucket for us. So as you can see, this is the package name which is currently being uploaded, and the status is ready now. Once we see that, we can just simply click on the deploy package. That's it. Once we deploy the package, we can choose the destination folder, right? So let's suppose if I want to have a new folder as a root folder, right, under this tenant, I can do this. And the name of the folder would be in AP invoice processing. We can also change it if required, but I'm keeping it as it is for the sake of simplicity. When I click on continue, it will navigate us to a different page. It will provide us an option to choose what assets, what queues needs to be created as a part of the solutions. As you can see, these are the different components. And these components are can it includes assets of different types, right? The email body, which is a part, which is an asset of type text. We can see that there are some assets of type credential as well. Let me check. Here is the credential type asset, which is already created. We don't have a lot of values in here, but we can configure it based on our need. Right? There's also action catalog, which is a part of the solution for human in the loop. It automatically creates this action catalog for us. It automatically create queue for us with all the description and the JSON schema that is needed for those queues, right? And there should be one more for this is again the action catalog, and then we should have some storage bucket as well. Here is the storage bucket, right? So it will create all these components for us, right? Which are needed as a part of this solution accelerator. And we can review the details which are in here, which are already in here, right? So when I click on validate before importing all this information, let's see if anything needs to be configured manually, or anything needs to be reviewed manually before actually importing this. As you can see, there are two configuration error, and both the error belongs to the credential type asset because the credential password is a mandatory field. So we can check for these assets in here, and we can provide the username, right? Whatever username that we will be using to access the Outlook SharePoint, right? We can have this here, and we can update the password. For now, I'm just providing a dummy value so that it allows us to save the information and continue with the setup of Solution Accelerator. All right. Same with SAP credentials because it would need access to log into SAP as well, right? This is similar to how we create assets in an orchestrator, right? So this is the same. Now, when we click on validate, these two errors will be resolved. And now we are good to deploy this solution accelerator to our tenant. So I'm clicking on deploy. It will create a new folder uh, in AP invoice processing. We'll have those assets created for us, those queues, storage bucket, action catalog, and everything else. So as you can see, we have this folder in here, AP invoice processing. So there are a total of 40 assets which are part of this solution. And we can see the values which are already populated. We did not change anything as such, but we can modify it if required, like changing the source email box, right? From where to pick the invoices and all of that, the subject line and everything else. So we can change it if required. Payment terms, set values, right? So if API key has to be provided, right, for data extraction, for ML skill. So we can provide all this information. The storage bucket is also created for us. So we are just verifying if everything is there or not. Then we have queues already created for us. So we don't have to create all this configuration for ourselves. Along the description, we can see that this is created. Now the configuration part is done on the orchestrator side. The next part is setting up the development environment to use UiPath Studio. Right. For this, I'll show you how we can. So we also downloaded the template, right? So in the template, we can see that there are 4 folders which are part of the solution. And then in the deployment, we will see that we have 2 reusable components. One is related to the data services and all, and the other is using the SAP APIs, which is using OData services to invoke SAP. So we can upload these 2 libraries in the orchestrator. And how to do this is, again, we'll go to the tenant section, we'll go to the packages, And under libraries, we can just simply deploy these two. In the tenant section, we can deploy these two solution accelerator libraries that are specific for this. As you can see, these two reusable libraries are already deployed in here. So under packages, libraries and tenant section, we can do this. If you don't see this option, it does not allow you to do this, you can go to the settings page, and under deployment, will have to make some changes for libraries, where you will have to change the deployment type to internal, and then allow both host and tenant feeds. So that by making this configuration change, you will be able to deploy the libraries to the tenant section. And you will see this option for tenant once you enable that. Right. So this is done. We have deployed the library as well. Now, my studio is connected with the same tenant. That means since I am working as a developer, so I will have access to the same tenant. Now, let's go back to the template folder that we have downloaded, right? So as you can see, the documentation which are part of the solution accelerator is in here. And this is applicable for all the solution accelerators. A lot of detailed documentation is also provided that can be customized, because if you want to customize it for your need, you have the document in the document format as well as in the PDF format, right? The deployment guide, how you can deploy it, the technical documentation, what are the different components that are used, and the related documents include the detailed solution design, the overall design of this particular solution accelerator, the document understanding process. This is the standard document that we get as a part of document understanding framework, right? The best practices that we should be following. And the high-level solution design, the RE framework documentation, since one of the process uses RE framework. So this is also again, then the reusable components methodology, how reusables should be utilized as a part of any solution, right? So I'll show you these some of these documents and some of these flow charts, so that so this is the high level solution diagram, where you can see the the email is coming from the EP box. The dispatcher bot downloads the emails, it extracts the invoice files and upload it to storage bucket. And there's again a simple dispatcher which can get it from a network location as well. So any one of these dispatcher can be implemented in here. Then there's a DU process with digitize and extract the information. Then there's a PO matching process, which fetches the information from SAP and does the matching for us. It also create actions and the task for us at these two steps. And then there's a performer process, which create the invoice object in the system and upload the attachment, and then does the Miro in SAP, right? So this is for invoice. This is a very high level architecture diagram. But if you talk about the detailed solution design, right? So this is what it look like, where we have different components of the solution accelerator and how they are tightly binded using different UiPath products uh, to make it more scalable and robust without any requirement of setting up anything on the local, right? Anything on the local VM. As you can see, there's a dispatcher process, how it is started, what are the logic look likes, how these dispatcher are sharing, or I would say how this dispatcher is actually uploading the document to storage bucket, how it is adding the data for the queue for next bot to process, which is document understanding process. Again, this follows the best practice in using the document understanding framework. What are the different rules that are implemented? The UiPath validation station for manual review, right? And data service integration for record management, for reporting purposes, for tracking. It is updating, creating rows in data service, again, adding the data to the next queue. So all these components that you see, right? These are all tightly binded in this as a part of the solution accelerators. So whatever we have just saw is the configuration side now, and I'll quickly show you the SDD and PDD as well for this document. Right, as you can see, this is the document that is readily available as a part of the solution. You can just simply go through it, and it will help you to create or get started with your solution design as well as the documentation as well. And this is the deployment guide where which can help you to quickly set up this either using the orchestrator manager or using solutions management. So both ways. So as you can see, this one is using solution orchestrator manager to for manual configuration, right? You can follow this guide as well. So very detailed one. This really help in setting up the environment for start using this. And here we can see the code of the libraries. If you want to modify the library, right? Or if you want to update the version, you want to include any specific steps, you can do this in here. And then the other one is SAP reusables one, which is again uses the SAP APIs or data services. And these are the different workflows which are part of this library. So we have already deployed the library. Now it comes to the process part. As we have seen on the solution design that there are different processes which are tightly binded, right? As you can see, simple dispatcher and email dispatcher are two dispatchers which can be leveraged, any one of them or maybe both of them if required. So email dispatcher gets the data from email. The simple dispatcher gets the data from a network location or a shared drive location. Then there's a document understanding process, perform PO matching, and then at last we have performer. Right. So let's suppose if I open the simple email dispatcher, I'll open this. Since I'm connected with the tenant where we have deployed the libraries, it will automatically resolve the libraries dependency because we have those libraries available on the tenant. But if we don't, we will have to manually create the library and then we'll have to manually import it basically in the studio. So as you can see, it will open the code in here. It will resolve the dependencies and we'll see the data service. Let's see. Let's wait for this to open. So we can customize this code. So we can use the dispatcher as it is if required. But if you want to customize, you can customize it. So there are some placeholders which are available in these workflows for customization. If not, we can use some of these processes as it is as well. But SAP steps are specific to organizations, enterprises. That's why the customization is required there. But email, SharePoint, storage bucket, all those components are standard, right? So we can just simply provide the details and start using it. So we have everything set up on the orchestrator side. We have the folder created. We have the assets already available, queues, right? Libraries. Now we'll see that the folder is also available in here in the studio, the folder that we just created. And we can access the assets. We can access the storage bucket. Everything is available. Right. Since you can see the annotations, the best practices, the retry mechanism, exception handling, everything is implemented. And you can see this is the one of the reusable that we were discussing about, right? So this orchestrator, this is coming from the orchestrator tenant feed. Right. So this particular package is coming from the orchestrator tenant feed, as you can see. We won't find it anywhere else. Since we deployed it to orchestrator tenant, it automatically resolves this dependency by installing it for us, right? So that's about it. You can just change the framework if required, right? Like how your email look likes, right? What are the configurations that are needed? So you can modify this. Everything is already created. The reusable is there. For let's suppose I'm just creating a test sequence just to see if I'm able to access the assets from that particular location or not. Right. So since it created the AP invoices, so we don't have to worry about the assets and everything else. Either on the configuration in the config file as well as on the orchestrator side because it is already created. Right. So these are all the assets that are already created, right? So that means whatever we have, so we have the same set of assets in the config file as well. It will automatically fetch this information. We don't have to do anything on the configuration side. It will do, it will fetch all this information by itself. That's it. So, right. So we don't need to worry about what do we have in the config file. I'll open that as well. Let's see. So this is the email dispatcher that you're talking about. We can provide the information, we can provide the details, and we can start using it as it is. Nothing else is required. It will look for the email box. It will look for that attachment. It will download it, upload it to storage bucket, and add the data to the queue item, which is already created, which is already available. Now, let's suppose if you want to see the document understanding process, right? It's already there. Everything is already set up, right? We can just simply open this workflow. It will resolve the dependencies. It will resolve the library versions as well. And then you still have to provide the ML endpoint or any other extractor that you're using to extract the document information. But you have the template ready. You have everything already configured on the Action Center side, as well as on the orchestrator side, assets, storage bucket. Everything is already configured. I'll show you some placeholders as well in the PO matching part. I think that will give you a better idea. So this is dispatcher one. The other one is still opening up, so it will take some time to resolve these dependencies. And the document understanding dependencies are usually on the higher side because of the OCR package. But let's wait for the dependencies to be resolved. So the PO matching process uses SAP endpoints to create the invoice entry in SAP. And for matching, it has human in the loop as well, which fetches the information from SAP, verify it against the invoice document as a part of two-way matching, and then the user can manually validate and then submit it, and the bot will do the invoice posting in SAP using Miro transaction. So I'll show you some of the placeholders where you can modify your code. And as I said, it follows the best practices. So the retry mechanism and exception handling are very well implemented in the whole solution. So you don't have to worry about if anything goes wrong at any given point of time in the process. The bot is robust enough to catch all those exceptions, right? So this is the document understanding process. So it follows the best practices. Like I said, it has the document understanding framework, which is again a recommended approach from UiPath for any of the document understanding related projects. So the dependencies very well, I think. So it automatically resolves the dependencies for us related to libraries or usables. Right. So you can configure your endpoint ML extractor. If you're using invoices, you can just simply provide that in endpoint either in the assets or in the config sheet, and you can start using it. Or you can modify, you can add your own extractor as well if required, based on the document type that you have. Right. Let's have a look at the PO matching as well. Right. So this is the PO matching process where the bot is actually checking the invoice record and it is updating the invoice record in SAP. Right. It uses SAP OData endpoints to do some of this work and create the PO matching task for manual validation at Action Center if the automatic matching is not happening. So the all the workflows are already created. You just have to provide your custom workflow, right? As you can see, everything is already done. Replace the content with this workflow with your own logic. So you can just simply do this, but rest of the details are already done. You just have to follow the arguments, what arguments you need to consume as a part of this custom logic, and what should be coming out as a part of that logic that you will be creating. And that would be it. The bot will take care of all the other step by itself, right? So everything is already created. The logic that are standard for two-way match process is already there. So that's about it, how you can quickly import or set up the solution accelerators in your environment. So as you can see, we are already like how quickly we were able to set up everything, right? We were able to navigate to the code and then do the setup by ourselves. And as a part of once you do the customization, right? You can also publish the code to Orchestrator and then start testing it. So you can relate how quickly you can do this if you already have the the customized steps already designed or configured, right? Or discussed. You can quickly deploy this. You can save a lot of time around deployment, development, and configuration. Think we are on time. We are open for Q&As. We'll see the chats if we have any questions or any suggestions. I guess we have a lot. Okay. All right. So the first question that we have is from Victor. Is solution access good? Okay. Yes, it does support SAP GUI version, and you can use SAP Fury as well for. So since the customized part, right? So you can do anything that is accessible on your organization. You can also use OData endpoints if that is available. So it's up to you. You can use the customization part as needed. Yes, on-premise as well. You can do this for on-premise orchestrator as well, but I think you'll have to check for the version which is supported. If you are on a very older version of on-premise orchestrator, it might not support because I guess it is created using Studio 22.10. So anything which is supported, which is supporting Studio 22.10 solutions should work, whether cloud or on-prem. All right. Then the solution covers exception handling for SAP. Yes, it does cover the exception handling as well. But as you can see, right, the workflows that we have created, most of the workflows have the exception handling already created. Even if it fails at any given point of time, it will be handled at the next step. But as you do the customization, it is always recommended to follow the best practices and implement the exception handling for those custom logic as well, so that the bot can handle those exceptions well instead of relying to the next step to handle it. Yes, you can also build your own solution accelerators if you are aware how it is done, right? And you can also navigate, you can go through the UiPath Academy course. It will give you a very good understanding how solution accelerators are built, how it follows the best practices and how you can leverage it in your organization to quickly implement some of the standard SAP business scenarios. All right. Which version of document understanding is being used, classic or modern? Okay. So in this one, the classic version of document understanding is being used. That means action, AI center one, where you can create the data labeling session for your own, and then you can have the ML endpoints created, and then you can start using it. But if you are using the modern approach, you will need the APIs, right, for digitization and everything else. So that is not there. So this one is following the classic approach where it uses the ML skill endpoint to process it. Yes. I think some of the questions are also answered by Faiz. So thank you so much, Faiz, for answering those questions. And I think we're on time.
Yeah, great job, Umesh, and also Mohed. Thank you for answering questions in the background, and Pankaj for hosting the session today. And thank you all for joining. I did put where you can register for the next session in the chat, so please grab that. And also, the recording will be available tomorrow for you to have as in addition to the presentation. So thank you, everybody, for this wonderful session. We'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well,
Bye.
thank you.